Lee and Xin Zhao. What exactly do they do with the Cho'Gath on the map? So many question marks here with this draft for Verdant. And usually Verdant are the team that we praise for their drafts.
True. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is going to start through the mid jungle. For
Yeah.
Syncox and Noodle. That's really where they're going to have to make a lot of their bread. There's Nautilus that felt pretty telegraphed in all fairness. And yeah, I would suspect that they're going to have to really try and bring it to Velia and Nemesis. Maybe they've got an early game pathing plan ready. Noodle has been one of the junglers of all time in the NLC who's been willing to do really weird stuff like flash over walls to go from buff to buff. So
Actually,
let's wait and see if that's what they've got going on, because for Lost Ratones, it's very standard front to back, a little bit of pick, non-committal engage. Life feels really good. I feel like the onus is really on Verdant to try and get things going so that Syncox can be unlocked on the map and ready to go.
As it stands, final word just to get your prediction on who do you think is going to take game one. Salari, you start. I know you have a saying right now.
it has to be Lost Ratones in this game. I am not seeing how Verdant are winning this game unless they're set super ahead in the early game, which is going to fully fall onto Noodle's shoulders, and that is a lot to ask from one person. So I think for Lost Ratones, the win condition is just easier.
I like Verdant's lane
Just
matchups.
spread them out and they took more space, but that's fine. Let's move into game number one. Here we go.
It's tradition. All right, well, coming into game one, Georgia, I was chatting about your background. We've got the meme out of the way. What is your take on what's going on in the Rift today? We've got ourselves Neferi Ari for LR. That could get pretty spicy. On the other side, I'm looking at a lot of CC combos from Verdant, but maybe not necessarily the most consistent damage.
Yeah, I feel like for Lost Ratones right here, they've got a pretty much a very well-rounded composition, I want to say. I wanted to see if Crowny was going to lock into the game with Comet, Halo Blades, or Lethal Temple that we're seeing more of the on-hit build onto Varus. Like, he's playing for pure lane domination, playing against the Jhin lane, right? What I'm very worried about Verdant is that they don't necessarily have a designated tank killer. So if BAUS really does snowball, and he really has changed and builds any remnants of tank items, it'd be really hard to kill him. Looking at the longsword, I take everything I said back.
Yeah, of course, he's going damage early. It is BAUS on the Sion. Is he ever really going to... Did so well for the regular season and then dropped down to Nord as they kind of got wrecked. Not to put too fine a point on it. It was a really good series from them. As absolutely right. Story time. We'll have to wait. Shiganari flashing away, but Reckless waiting here as down comes the level 3 Neferi. Hot dogs for dinner. And Shiganari is feeling a little overfull and will die for first blood to the dog in the jungle.
Right, stories aside as well, we're going to catch them because they're actually very important here for the rest of the game, and for the rest of the tournament as well, and the lives of both of these teams. Velia with a very nice invade, takes the blue buff, takes the Gromp, and then wraps around. Shiganari and Obstinatus have absolutely no idea, because even though they were deep woods, Velia managed to actually wrap around. Noodle tried to take the double scuttle coming through from Noodle right here. BAUS, that's a flash.
To try and punish this, eviscerating forward is Velia. Tehran going to be a little late. Nemesis flashing over here. Forced to flash out of those Jins out. Charm onto Tehran, who is going to get hit up by that rupture as Nemesis for a second or two, but they can keep on hunting. Call of the Pack buys a bit of time. Another eviscerate, and the Dark and Daggers keep on going through. And Nemesis gets another. Lost Ratones off to the races. At least Verdant did get a kill somewhere else, of course, because Tehran managed to pick up BAUS. Become more of a star koi over the years in the LEC, but there's some players who certainly had a fair amount of experience there as well. And Noodle, NLC vet, will be looking to help push Verdant that little step further. But of course, to get there, they have to do a little bit of giant slaying. Lost Ratones are looking to make sure they recover well from that upper bracket humbling they ended up receiving. Hence the run of affairs as BAUS gets ignited, and that's just a kill to Shiganari. Going down again, it is the BAUS way on the side, but all the same, getting a kill onto the Jhin early, got to feel pretty good for Verdant nonetheless.
That's actually pretty huge, though. Crowny is the core damage right now for the side of Lost Ratones, so losing both summoners right before the Void Grubs fight right here could end up being very deadly for the Varus. But as you can see right here, Lost Ratones is sort of sandwiching in towards the Void Grubs. The TP is going to come through, though, from Tehran.
Hook lands, that's BAUS getting rooted by the Deadly First. Reckless trying to buy some time. Headbutts Obstinatus into the middle of the pit. Tehran now teleports into himself, looking to play this out. Can start to play around the Grubs. Maybe he can smite one away. Looking to get some kills back. They've already nabbed one of the Grubs, have Lost Ratones. They get the feats of warfare as well. As of course, Crowny picks up a kill. Charm into the knockup, into the dead Cho'Gath. Not looking so much like a Void Monster as a tutorial boss.
Yeah, I feel like Lost Ratones were very,
He's got a flash. Where is he going? Of course he's going to the wave. He's heading for the farm. He'll get knocked up, but he'll be able to clear out the wave at the very least. BAUS will never change, will he? Gets feasted, so there's some stacks in the inventory of Tayron, but there you go. Skins may have to wait a second as everyone's trying to fight for vision in the banana bush. Velia will go untargetable for a second. Headbutt pulverized from Reckless. Brings down Obstinatus, has a heat-seeking engage on that other support. Noodle gonna try and find a moment, does not get to Crescent, got anywhere near in time to keep himself alive. A knock up onto the Cho'Gath, and again, the monster falls. Lost Ratones have been clinical in these team fights.
Yeah, I feel Verdant are really weighing the situation when they're trying to fight for those neutral objectives. There's actually no wards, there's no vision, there's no formation for them to try and play those fights. Usually when you're looking at Talias, you're looking at a wall coming in first, you isolate some members, and you kill some others. It's more about the zoning that you can, and that's throughout the entirety of playoffs, right? So it's within series that they've dominated, and within series that were hard for them. Obstinatus right here. Oh, in No Man's Land. Oh,
boy.
Well.
Sometimes this happens on Nautiluses when you start falling behind. You end up dying as you attempt to face it because you're not really that tanky unless you get Aftershock. We'll try and turn this around onto Velia, who reactivates his Call of the Pack. Sorry, is it Call of the Pack? That's the W. What's the R button again? I'm having a moment. It'll have to wait as I muse on ability names later. Nemesis in a 1v1 with Sankux. Noodle coming down as well, but Nemesis just gets to press R a few times and run. As Nemesis has decided to stick around, Reckless and Crowny now here, as is Sankux. They really want to potentially contest this. Noodle's gone very deep, presses the R button, in comes the depth charge, but feels a little bold to throw down those ultimates. Flash for the charm, flash in response, keeps at least Obstinatus alive. TPs, I hear, beginning to fly on down towards his pulse. And Obstinatus took the wall! Over the wall they're going regardless, but it's a double pulverized knockup. They'll bring down Crowny. Sankux still firing over the wall. Tayron is here as well. And I think Lost Ratones may have bitten off a little more than they can actually chew. Remember, Nemesis, no ult, gets feasted, goes down as well. And now Velia in danger in a 1 versus 4. Verdant have found a lot. You can call the back all you want. No one's on the other end of the phone. And a shutdown goes the way of Sankux as Verdant find a huge fight in the bot side.
Incredibly great awareness from the side of Verdant. They actually
Full angle and a great teleport, and you can't ask for too much better. That puts Verdant right back in contention. They're still down 2,000 odd gold though. Lost Ratones look like they want to play around this as Reckless. Forced to ult and back away. Turn onto the hook lands and a charm in turn, but here comes the Weaver's Wall. And Lost Ratones, these last few plays have not been fantastic. A chunk on Velia who eviscerates away. BAUS is also now ulted on in. They get the knock up with the multi-man headbutt pulve. Health bars are low, and actually BAUS can start autoing. I take it all back. There's the Hounds pursuing Tayron. Can do what he wants, can't get in range to get the feast down. The health bar wasn't executable. Shiganari cleanses and begins to run away, hit with that Q, and BAUS won't chase for him more, but actually good counter punch from Lost Ratones after the start of the fight. Got a little ugly.
I feel like for Verdant, this was we were winning until we weren't. They just overextended a little bit too much. You can see how great it is when they keep their distance and they can use their tools to catch Lost Ratones off guard, to punish them with the CC that they do possess, and especially when you have so many knockups on the side of Verdant. No amount of I keep forgetting the word. No amount of tenacity, there you go, I found it, is going to negate the amount of knockups, right? The Cho'Gath, the Thalia, the Nautilus, they've got really potent CC if they can change it.
For a moment, it looked like Shiganari was playing Jax because it was a counter-strike angle there. Man was getting collaterals the entire fight. Do you see how many multi-man Qs he got straight through everyone at the back end of that fight? Nasty stuff from the Varus. Nemesis, though, now looking for an ult, following up with this Ari, and Sankux flashes the charm, but where is he going? Over the wall comes Obstinatus, multi-man dredge line, and depth charge, I apologize, that's the name of the ultimate. Velia trying to hop away, will get knocked up by the 3 Talon Strike, and Lost Ratones have gone a little deep. They'll change the corruption, try to turn this around. It does feel like those counter punches still being very dangerous. Ends up being a 1 for none in favor of Verdant as they blow a few summoners to come and save their mid laner's life.
Yeah, that's a flash down on Sankux, but they end up trading for a kill. It's definitely worth it. I'm very confused on the way that Lost Ratones are playing right now because I'm not very used to that aggression without necessarily a neutral objective being on their sides, or at least something else being taken on the other side of the map. And right here, Verdant, they're going to capitalize on the fact that there's no smite on the side of Lost Ratones. They'll take that Rift Herald, and slowly but surely, I feel like Verdant are starting to realize how their composition is supposed to work. This is not your typical front to back as Shiganari. It's a little bit too far forward. Might have to blow his flash.
Noodles around. Big chunk, though, onto Shiganari nonetheless. Will deadly flourish briefly and get a silver lining bit of CC. But Nemesis, look at the angle. The charm is phenomenal. And Crowny knocks down what Nemesis sets up. Reckless goes forward, does get knocked up here, has to flash away to Noodle, as BAUS looks for the lane gank by driving straight down mid lane. Nemesis still got the ult to run with for a second or two more. Can look for a charm angle, lands it around the minions onto that Cho'Gath, who's a lot tanky now than he once was. But is he tanky enough to survive? Is for the moment. BAUS throws up the Soul Furnace. Over the wall goes Velia. Gets stunned up briefly, but chased onto opposite artists. It's a double for Crowny. Gets a reset on the Hound's pursuit. Velia will go untargetable with the call of the pack. Sends those dogs straight after Noodle, who might be turning into dinner like his namesake. Gets in trouble though as he throws down the Crescent Guard. Does pick off the bias as he tries to get a few more autos down as a zombie. And the Cranberries have the right of it. What's in his head going this deep? The Dark Daggers land. And Nemesis helps get another with the very tip of the Q. Wait, curtains are called, and how many shots can they land? What's the dancing shoot like? Crowny nearly flashed into that bullet, but it all pulls away, and Lost Ratones in the end come out on top. But my days, they have been willing to get down and dirty with the best of them.
I mean, hey, Powers and Lost Ratones picked them up one by one as Nemesis has found himself another target.
He has so much ability. His ult is basically on no cooldown. Keeps chasing, gets another for Crowny, who's now going to his 9th kill.
Down in the bottom left as we're taking a dive straight onto the mid lane tower.
Well, Herald was taken by Verdant, so they'll charge it through mid lane and get a double charge off, which is nice for them. As the cacophony stops just briefly. And we'll turn instead to look at things like Hextech Dragon, which will be spawning in relatively short order. Charge now onto Shiganari, who was kind of split off from his team, trying to back away from the BAUS. Got a lot of damage with this Titanic Hydra, gets knocked up by the Rupture, will be in feast range shortly. And Tayron will indeed press the R button, and BAUS's zombie runs at a few people and tries to get a few more love taps down. No pun to Misfortune's kit required.
Oh, mate, you're on the wrong side of the moon, and this is going to be a 1-for-1. So full versus full for this Dragon. The Dragon spawning already. Verdant did not have the time to reset and get a bit of vision into this river. So it's going to be a TP from Tayron coming through. And let's see if Senkax not just to wall in, try and get something from that 4v4.
It would be a 4v4 because of course BAUS is down, but then instead is the soul for Lost Ratones. They get the full job with 4 dragons in a row at 23 minutes. Now turning around with that extra lightning to their name. And somewhere out there, there's a God of Thunder or two who are approving. And this is Nemesis into the backside. Multi-man slow as the lightning begins to ground itself in the skulls of Verdant. Trying to get the shutdown onto Shikanari. But Nemesis manages to bring that down in a 1-for-1. Maybe not the cleanest they'd like, actually. Asenko's running away from Velia. Knock up now onto that dog who manages to eviscerate away to safety. Ends up being a 2-for-2, so not as clean as Lost Ratones were hoping as they went diving with their newly gained Hex Soul and got a little bit too greedy with their newfound power.
I feel like right here for Verdant, this will be their biggest test as they try to get some vision towards that Baron pit.
Quite deep for the BAUS. I think he might be in trouble. Gets knocked up, flashes away. Curtains are called. Tayron, they're taking some big damage back. Down to about 10% HP, but over the wall goes Nemesis. Charm onto a key member of Noodle, who now Crescent Guards, but it might be a little too little and a little too late. Down with 3rd HP. Charm on the Nemesis and stunned up. It's not a charm, but it feels like it. That Deadly Flourish was the lucky charm that Verdant needed. Pick off on the mid laner. Potentially a critical one as things like Baron are up, even if the Atacana
with a feast, so this can get pretty scary if Cho'Gath gets anywhere near the pit, but as you can see right here, Lost Ratones, particularly BAUS and Reckless, have made it their life's mission to not let this Cho'Gath anywhere near the pit.
Nemesis is back in TP'd in. Shiganari looking for an angle. They are doing their very best to keep the Cho'Gath away. Root, though, onto Nemesis begins to ult on out. Reckless will get the Pulverize onto Obstinates, and there is Baron secured. You asked them to keep the Cho'Gath out the pit, and Lost Ratones heard the mission statement, and will even get a bonus to Lear at the end of it all.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Senkax ended up there. I think they were just trying to flank around to get any vision onto the pit as Theron has to flash the wall. It's pretty Lost Ratones dominant right here. Let's be honest. Obstinatus has his Hex Flash away from that bush. And there's going to be a push towards the top side of the map for Lost Ratones. They've got the Baron, they've got 5 members, and they're looking for the first inhibitor towers.
In comes the Hound's pursuit, and Nautilus finds his diving suit full of a lot of holes. Tayron now in danger, tries to find some value. Can't quite get a kill with that Feast. Velia low, but I don't think he cares all that much. The curtain's being called. But unfortunately for Jin, I think it's his team that'll be forced to take the bow. The spell shield tanks the 4th bullet. And Shiganari suddenly wishing he could count to 5.
Ooh, plain textbook right here from Lost Ratones. Taking that mid lane inhibitor tower and the inhibitor as well. I mean, that's pretty good, right? You back off, you take your money, put it in your pocket, make it into items, and then just guarantee yourself.
So look, Verdant with 14 seconds on the Elder Dragon. I've got to try and find a way into this river without getting picked off on the way, and that's going to be no easy feat. All the while, look where BAUS and Crowny are. They're in the base getting the final inhibitor.
Yeah, I think they're going to be threatening to actually end the game, because if you look on the top side of the map, there is already a wave running into the base. So Verdant right here, not only are they running back to the base, but now they're also surrounded.
Obstinate is going to get jumped on. There's the headbutt, the pulverize gun. A little deep for this one, but Reckless can make himself very tanky with the press of an R button, and his will is very unbreakable, as is his body. Unfortunately, on the other side, Verdant look mighty breakable indeed, and LR take him over an E and snap him in half. Thrown off the Hell in a Cell through the announcer's desk, 16 feet or whatever the meme is. It has been a shellacking, a bloodbath. What is it, 44 kills in under 30 minutes. Lost Ratones came here to play. They want to go to Denmark and they want to do it fast. They'll do game one at the very least in style.